is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we discussed about reading into a file, reading a file. And basically, you had seen that reading into a file, actually, we had to use an inbuilt function called fopen or file open. In that particular file, it takes up different type of modes, and onto that particular node, we had seen that we had to use the R mode or the reading mode. So today, we are going to go into another journey whereby we are going to ask a question how to write into a file. And onto that particular journey, we are going to go on to the definition, the syntax, and finally the implementation on the dev C++. So let us start onto that particular one. So basically, if we want to read, if we want to write into a file, you have to have at least 3 steps. So the first step, basically, here, what we are talking about, it is basically to do with you have to have again here the file open. So the first step, it is we are going to use the fopen file, and we have already seen up the syntax of the fopen file in our previous lessons. The second part of it, we are going to use the fgets, inbuilt function, and in the fgets inbuilt function, we are going to see when you're going to go to the syntax that is going to have a little bit of modification, and then writing up onto a file. So this particular one is going actually to create up a file. This fopen is going to create up a file, and when you go to fgets, actually it's going actually to store the data which is going to be given by a user. And the third part of it, we are going to use up the fputs. So the fputs function basically is going to actually to write into a file. So these are the basic steps which we are going to do actually to write into a file. So the second part of it, let's see the syntax. So basically, when you come up to the syntax, in this particular syntax, we are going to see the fgets, because in a previous lesson we have already seen the fopen and the fputs. So the syntax of fget on this, the usual syntax of fget is actually the word fgets, then opening up the bracket, and then here you have got the string name, and we have got the size of the array, and then we have what you call basically the pointer. So here we have got the file pointer on this particular area. So basically, if you are looking at this particular syntax of fgets, is actually going to read actually a file, and we have seen in our previous lesson actually we have used fgets to read up a file. Now what about actually to write up a file? So in this lesson, to write up a file is going to modify. So the fgets, again, we will take up the string name, and taking up the string name, taking up the size of the array, and this time is not going to take up the file pointer, but is going to take up the standard in. So here you will have the standard in, and basically this particular standard in, actually it is found on the stdio.h file. So that one we use. So basically here, that is what we are going to do. So let's take an example. If actually, if we have, let's take for example, if we have an array, this particular array, we just got 100 items, and it's called up content on this particular array. If you're going to use up the fgets, so it will be fgets, and then the name of this particular array, which is called content, and then the size, which is 100, and then we are going to have the standard in. So basically, this will allow a user actually to enter data, while this will allow a user actually to read data. So here we'll make up a user is supposed to store data using up this particular syntax. So let's go to dev C++ and try actually to implement the same. So here we are in Dev C++. As usual, we are going to declare a file pointer of data type file. So here we'll have our FP, and we're going to terminate. Then we are going to have, as usual, something to hold up our data. So, and that will be type character. So we'll have character, call it data, and this time we'll give up some values, maybe 1,000. So it will hold maybe 1,000 characters. And then basically we're using up the file open syntax. So we are putting up our pointer, and that particular pointer we are passing it on to file open and into a file open. Basically, as usual, we have to give it up as a path. So our path will be in C. So we'll call it up a C program. Into that particular C program, we might create a data called a data file. Let's take, for example, call data file. So we're going to create a data called data file dot txt, and all this must be in quotes. So we are going to put up quotes here onto it. So here we'll have up our quotes. Basically, we'll have up our quotes up there. Sorry for that. So basically, we'll have up our quotes. So our quotes will be up there. Okay. So there we'll have up our quotes. So we'll have we'll have up our quote. So basically, let's take up everything here and put it up into quotes. So everything here is put up into quotes. So that is on our quotes. And then the syntax tells us we're having up another quotes, and this particular quotes now, it is the mode. So the mode will be actually writing. So the mode will be W for writing and terminate. So after that, we are putting up an if statement. So we are saying if our pointer, that is, it is actually equals to null. If our pointer is equal to null, we're supposed to do something. So what are we supposed to do? Basically, we're supposed to bring up only a message. So here we'll have a very simple message that is printf, and in that particular message we are saying that basically maybe unable to create up a file. So we should be just unable to create a file. So that actually will be our message on that particular area, unable just to create up a file. So, and also onto that we terminate, and then we'll put up an else statement after that. So basically here we are saying else what? Else we are putting up now our logic. Basically here now we are telling up a user to enter. So here we'll have up a printf, and we're telling up a user actually to do what? We're telling up a user enter some content, enter some content to store in a file. So here a user is supposed to enter some content actually to store into a file. So basically that's what we're supposed to do, and then we're going to terminate that. Now our logic, basically we said that particular content has to be actually stored somewhere. So we are using up our fgets, and into our fgets we are passing on our array, which is called data, and we're passing on a size which is actually 1,000, and we're using stdin. So as opposed to read, we were actually using up the pointer. So, and then we're using up the fputs actually to write onto the file itself. So here we're having up the fputs, and it takes up data, and this one actually takes up our pointer. So that's basically it is our syntax on that particular area. So after that, basically we can put up a message. So that will be the end of our logic. So maybe our message will be printf. So our message will be printf, and into that particular printf, what we are saying, it's a very simple thing that we have only file, maybe just file successfully created. So file successfully created, and then we terminate, and finally it's good practice. Actually we have to close up our file. So use up fclose or file close, and we put up our pointer fp inside there. So basically this it is actually the implementation of writing onto a file. We have written up our code. Now we want to see what will happen if we execute this particular program. So let us execute this particular program. So we run this particular program, and when we run this particular program, actually we are prompted enter content to store into a file. So basically we are going to say we are going to write up some sentence here. So basically we will write, I am using C programming to write into a file, and then I enter. Basically it has said file created successfully. So let's go back and see into our file actually if it has written. Actually it has created a file called data file, and basically it was not there. So when you open up this file, actually it has written, I am using C programming to write into a file. So basically that actually makes the end of our session today, and also the end of C programming. And into our next or future lessons, actually we are going to move from structured programming into object-oriented programming, and God willing, actually we are going to start up what we call object-oriented programming using Java. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being into a very long journey whereby we had introduced C programming both from beginners, intermediate, and advanced. Until then, I say bye.